Whether you're new to fishing or a seasoned angler, there's going to be a perfect Maui Jim lens for you. So stick around and let's talk about it. Hello and welcome, I'm Graham, the Maui Jim specialist here at SportRx, and today we are going to be covering everything that you would need to know about Maui Jim fishing lenses. And this is exciting. Fishing is one of my favorite activities. We're going to talk about the best lens color for coastal, deep sea fishing, shore fishing, freshwater, from the float tube, from the boat, everything. And of course, we're going to get into features like polarization, Maui mirrors, exclusive lens tech that you may or may not know about, and why it excels out on the water. And of course, we're going to throw in a couple frame recommendations at the end for all of those types of fishing. You can also be sure that we have a seabedder guarantee here. And if you're like, what's a seabedder guarantee? Well, it gives you 45 days to try this frame out. And if we didn't nail it the first time, then you can actually return them, no questions asked, free shipping, and we will get you into something that is better. All right, to kick it off, let's talk about lens colors and why those are so important. We're gonna jump into why each lens here in front of me is specific to a certain type of fishing and where you're fishing. So to start, let's talk about saltwater. And the two lenses that are gonna be best here are gonna be Maui's neutral gray and their HCl bronze. For offshore, you have a lot of bright full sun, you don't have a lot of contrast, and because of that, you're gonna want the neutral gray lens. This is gonna be the best for bright full sun. You don't have any trees or anything around you when you're out on the ocean in a boat, and so this is gonna be the best. You don't need as much color enhancement, but if you do want a little color enhancement, you have the blue and the green mirrors that are to my sides here on top of that gray lens that will add a little bit for you, which is nice. You should know that with the green lens, you get almost a rose tint to the back of it, which is really nice. Okay, so moving back to the shores and the piers, fishing from the coastal areas, you're gonna want Maui's HCl bronze lens, which I'm holding here in front of me. And this lens has almost a copper hue to it. It's Maui's high contrast lens, that's what HCl stands for. And if you watch some of our other fishing videos, you'll know that copper and bronze are kind of the color that's really pushed for fishing. It's gonna offer not quite as much protection as the neutral gray, which is really the best for full sun, but it's gonna do a great job. It's Maui's everyday lens. It does offer a little bit more contrast, so if you're fishing from the shore and you do some sight fishing and you wanna see below the surface, this is just gonna add a little bit more for you. Okay, so talking about rivers, creeks, and shorelines, you face a lot more shade and coverage, variable light situations, and so the Maui HT high transmission and Maui rose lenses are going to be your best bet. And they do a couple things. First of all, they help illuminate things below the surface. They offer a lot of color enhancement. So you can see here right away, you can kind of see my eyes through these lenses, and that kind of speaks to them being better for low light situations. If you do this type of fishing from the shorelines, maybe you're on a float tube fishing the edge of a lake, you're gonna wanna be able to see below the surface. And the reason for that is that you might have structure that you're trying to fish off. You might be trying to fish around a dock and not know what type of stuff is growing under the water. And you can actually see fish beds and things of that nature when you have the right lens. So that's why these are gonna be so important there. It will help you kind of figure out where you need to cast and what's under the water. Also, so you're not like casting over a log and getting stuff stuck and having to go around and pull stuff off logs, which is not a fun day. It's not how you wanna spend your day fishing. Okay, let's move over to on the lake. Okay, so out on the lake, you have probably a lot more sun. And because of that, we're gonna definitely go to the HCl bronze. I would almost recommend the neutral gray. And if you do fish out on a lot of open lakes where you aren't gonna have any tree coverage and kind of shadows and things of that nature, this is actually gonna be the right option going back to the neutral gray. The reason that I say HCl bronze first is because out on the lake, you inevitably will fish the shorelines probably a little bit. And if you do a lot of freshwater fishing, this lens is just gonna be a better do-it-all lens. So you can see right away if I put these on, once again, just like with the HT and the rose, you can kind of see through it a little bit, see my eyes, and that just speaks to the fact that you're gonna have a little bit more color contrast with this lens, which is gonna help with shadows if you face them. Of course, if you're out on some bigger lakes where there is nothing like that, these lenses will help for full sun, especially if it's a deep lake and you're not dealing with trying to fish structure underneath the water. So keep those things in mind. You know, it's all about the lake that you fish and what the perfect lens is. Like I said, for out on the lake, I still recommend the HCl bronze because you probably are gonna do some sight fishing and fish the shore, but all depends on what you do most often. As a final note about on the lake fishing and the neutral gray lens, you can, of course, like I mentioned at the start, add one of these mirrors. So we have the blue mirror over here, the green mirror over here. They actually do add a little bit of extra contrast. The green lens in particular, I would say, actually adds a rose back, and it's not quite as contrast happy as the true rose lens, but it will add a little contrast for you, and that's really nice. That will give you a little bit of color enhancement on the lake. The blue mirror will do that as well, just not quite as much as the green lens, so that's good to keep in mind. And also, if you're enjoying this content, this is a good time to go down and give us a like and maybe subscription if you're really loving this content, so keep that in mind. Okay, so almost as important as lens colors is going to be lens material for fishing. This is an important thing to consider when you're making a purchase like this and you want to maximize your pair of sunglasses for sport. So right off the bat, I'm going to say Maui super thin glass is going to be the best option in terms of optics. A lot of fishermen that I've talked to in my life prefer to have glass out in the water. It just gives you a little bit more optical clarity, and that's great for spotting fish under the water and tying knots, seeing the fishing line. It's small, it's see-through, it's hard to see sometimes. With that in mind, Maui's optics are incredible. Maui Brilliant, which we have over here in the Maui Jim Kia, is going to be a small step down from glass. It's not going to be that noticeable. I'm simply trying to point out that a lot of the people I talk to prefer glass out on the water. Now, with that, if you drop a glass lens, it's going to be more likely to break than something like Maui Brilliant or Maui Polycarbonate. Those are going to be a little bit more durable. They might not be quite as clear optically, but in the event that you're bushwhacking to get to your best fly fishing spot and a branch slaps you in the face, maybe your lens survives where a glass lens doesn't. So those are things to keep in mind depending on what type of fishing you do. Okay, let's get into a couple lens features and then we can talk about frames. So first off, I want to talk about readers. Maui Jim makes fantastic bifocal readers. This is really great when you're out on the water if you need them, because if you don't have them, you might be kind of trying to look at your line and you're trying to tie a complex knot or just a normal fishing knot, which is not an easy thing to do. Even if you've done it a million times, you might be able to do it in your sleep, but it's nice to be able to see what you're doing right in front of you, especially when you're holding up that nice big fish that you caught. You want to see it nice and clear. So with age comes readers, just a fact of life. Maui has a fantastic reader selection. I think almost all of these frames come in readers. You'll have to check the website. I'm sorry, I don't have that information in front of me, but just know that it's an option with most Maui frames. Okay, and in terms of tech specs that you should also be looking at for polarization, I already mentioned all of these frames, all of Maui's frames have polarized lenses. You need polarized lenses for fishing. You face a ton of glare when you're out on the water, so going with an unpolarized lens would be a bad call. But if you are already choosing Maui, you're in luck. Like I said, polarized +2 lens tech, maybe the best polarized lenses in the business. I don't know if I can say that. I work for SportRx. We carry a bunch of great brands, but it's really good. It comes in all of their sunglasses. So you're getting polarized lenses with Maui Jim, which is great for fishing. Okay, and now to the fun part. I'm gonna recommend my top 3 freshwater and saltwater frames to you guys. We'll give a quick rundown. I'm pretty sure we have videos on all of these frames, so if you wanna go see those, you can check those out separately. So we have the Makoa right here. It's gonna have an SFW of 132. The Southern Cross with an SFW of 133. And the Kia, which is a brand new Maui frame. We just released the review on this frame. And I went with these frames because they have a kind of slimmer temple. They're a little bit less heavy duty than some of these big wrap frames that we'll talk about for the saltwater. And the Kia is kind of a hybrid athleisure frame that I think is gonna be great for a lot of not as impact heavy sports. And I see a lot of people out on the water in aviators, and I always think, what are you doing? These are gonna fall off your nose, and then your aviator's gone. Well, these have rubber in the temples, adjustable rubberized nose pads here, which is a really cool design. And that tech stuff, that's for another video, like Fisher's Buyer's Guide. But this is a great aviator for fishing. So if you've been looking for a performance aviator, here it is. So those are my freshwater picks. Moving on to saltwater, I have my 3 picks here. We have the World Cup, which is a fantastic fishing frame, huge wrap. The local Kine down here at the end, and the Haleakala. And so in terms of SFWs, you have 140 for the Haleakala, you have a 140 for the local Kine, and then a 142 for the World Cup. It's a big boy. These are all kind of XL frames. Now, I will say that all of these frames would be fantastic for fishing. These are just my picks for salt and freshwater. And if you want something that's a little bit different, definitely check out our other video on top fishing sunglasses. We have videos and blogs on all of those things. Okay, hopefully I've reeled you in. You have all the info that you would need for Maui Jim fishing lenses, and you now know exactly what's gonna be perfect for your type of fishing, and you're gonna go catch a bunch of fish. That's how it works. Perfect lens equals more fish. Not a guarantee though. Don't wanna get your hopes up too much. And of course, remember our friendly opticians. They are online, ready to talk to you. They love talking to you. They have all the information on these frames and other fishing frames. They have great frame recommendations. You know everything about lenses now, right? And of course, remember our See Better guarantee, which is some extra peace of mind when you're checking out. Okay, thanks for watching. And remember, if you love this content, we have more content right over there. So just go over there and click that. Of course, remember to give us a like, a follow, and of course, our social media is below me. You can follow us there at SportRx. I think you'll love that as well. We'll see you later.